What's up, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Justin here. We're back, another episode. We're doing new stuff. I have a bunch of new shit, and I mentioned it in the last video. A couple of my bands that I play in, both bands played shows in the last couple of weeks, so I picked up stuff at those shows. And then I went out of town. I went to the Cinema Wasteland convention in Cleveland, Ohio. Picked up a bunch of stuff there. And I got a few mail order items as well. But we're going to do records, tapes, CDs, movies. There's even a book in here. So let's just look at it all. So first, we're going to look at some records. So when I went to Cinema Wasteland, I picked up 2 records. For those of you that don't know, Cinema Wasteland is a horror and exploitation and other cinema convention in Cleveland, Ohio, twice a year. There's a huge vendor room with booths of movies and DVDs and VHS tapes and posters and collectibles and all kinds of shit. But being that it's in Cleveland, and a lot of people that are into that kind of stuff are into metal, Hell's Headbangers has a booth. So I picked up 2 records from Hell's Headbangers. First is this Cannibal Corpse LP. This is Hammer Smashed Holland. This is a live record, double LP, from a live show in Holland in 2004. Bergam, Holland, June 19th, 2004. So, of course, this is modern day Cannibal Corpse. Comes on blue vinyl. Really cool. But it is 2 records shoved into a single pocket jacket, which is obnoxious. But this is a bootleg, obviously, but it's a pretty decently well put together bootleg, with the exception of 2 records shoved into 1 jacket. This came out on Reek of Death Records. I'm sure that's just some bootleg, label. It's probably the only thing they've ever done. And there's only 125 of these. So that's pretty cool. I saw that and I snatched it up. Have not listened to it yet. Second, I got Hornets of the Pogrom by Argoslant. We listened to this recently on one of our records, on one of our videos on cassette tape, but I grabbed this, and at the last minute before I paid, I realized that it is a picture disc. I don't hate picture discs, but I'm not crazy about picture discs. But being that this record, it's not hard to find in any format. So I snatched it up, and I will definitely spin it from time to time. Speaking of, before I forget, because I forgot on our last video, I didn't have anything playing last time. And I just sat down and jumped right into this. But we were listening to Sabbath Assembly. Now, Sabbath Assembly is a band, I think they're from Portland. They might be based in New York City now, I'm not sure. They've done several records. Their early stuff is more acoustic based, more clean based. In the 70s, there was a religious movement or a cult called the Process Church of Final Judgment. And all of the songs that Sabbath Assembly sang on their first record were songs based around that movement, or songs from that movement. And this release, Eno Ot de Rotzer, are acoustic versions of some of those songs. It's really, really, really fucking good. Their newer stuff is more occult rock, more occult metal sounding, like Devil's Blood or stuff like that. But I love this acoustic stuff. And this artwork is actually, the Process Church put out a periodical, and this is artwork done by one of the members of the church. And this was printed in their magazine. But I had the opportunity several years ago, when I used to have a label, I worked with Sabbath Assembly, and we put out a t-shirt with this as the front image on a red t-shirt. And we did a few different runs of it. It was pretty popular. But I love this. Actually, this is probably my favorite Sabbath Assembly material. Okay, back to the records. Next, while I was at Cinema Wasteland, Billy and Vanessa from Evil Speak Magazine and Razorback Records were there. Very, very good friends of mine. And Vanessa is in this band, Vollrath. Vollrath is a black metal band. Now, there's a couple of other people in this band with her, but I'm not sure who they are. I don't know them. But she gave me this. This is their full-length Death is Proof of Satan's Power. That is a killer album title. And this is absolutely killer artwork. It's so macabre. It's so kind of King Diamond meets Hammer horror looking. It's a legit painted cover. No one does that anymore. It looks so good. This is on Hell's Headbangers. And it is on a really nice purple and orange vinyl there. Ready to listen to this. I've always liked the music that Vanessa has been a part of. She's a really, really good lyricist and a really versatile vocalist. So I'm hoping that this is as gloomy and macabre sounding as it looks. Next is Surgical. Spelled Surgikill. Well, play on words there. This is Sanguinary Revelations. Billy and Vanessa are in this band, along with Steve-O from Impetigo, Ash Thomas from Estuary of Calamity, and a couple other people. And Surgikill is like an old school 80s throwback kind of thrashy death metal band. Really, really good stuff. Artwork is by the same artist. The sound of Surgical and Vollrath are vastly different, but the same kind of theme applies there. Kind of this ghastly horror macabre theme. And I already have this on CD, and it's really good. And I was stoked to get a copy on vinyl. And it is also on a really rad marbled vinyl there, very similar to Vollrath. These were pressed, I think, at the same time by Hell's Headbangers. But I am looking forward to spinning both of those. Okay, so next, I've got 3 more records real fast. My band, one of my bands played with Spectral Voice the other night, who were just crushing. Spectral Voice, of course, they are a death doom metal band. They are extremely popular lately, and with good reason. They're really good, they're really tight, they're really unique, and they play constantly. These guys are touring pretty much constantly right now, and they need to do that while they can. But this is their full length, Eroded Corridors of Unbeing. I bought Spectral Voice's demo cassette when it came out several years ago, and I kept up with them, but then I kind of fell off. They got really, really popular, and I didn't keep up with them. But then after watching them the other night, and I've known them online for several years, but me and Eli, the drummer slash singer, we stood around and talked for a long, long time. I picked this up. I can't wait to spin it, because if it's as gloomy and dismal as they were live, this will be a good record. This is the one, you light a candle, you turn all the lights off, and you take something that'll make you not feel feelings anymore, and you lay on your sofa and you sink into it and you listen to this. But this is a really cool record. You have a gatefold flap that opens, and then the record slides in the side right there. I've never seen that before in all my years of record buying. That's really fucking neat. There's a really kind of celestial picture of the band there. There is an insert. Yeah, there's an insert in here. A little booklet. Lots of artwork. The guy from the band Swallow, the Finnish band Swallow, did all artwork for this, and all of the texts. Looks really rad. But it's just got this really nice, simplistic, old school throwback look to it. I'm really stoked on the layout and the graphic design direction on this. Makes me jealous that I didn't get to do it. But Spectral Voice, looking forward to that. I also did a trade. I've got a buddy named Brent. He lives kind of near here, and we have been communicating back and forth, and he wanted to pick up some records from my band, and he sent me his trade list, and he had a couple things on it that I just jumped on. The first is Onscapt. Now, I am not super familiar with Onscapt, but I can't even, I think that says Draco Sit Nihil Nox, which has something to do with darkness and nothingness. Gatefold, all the lyrics there that are very hard to read. Onscapt is a black metal band. This is on black vinyl. This inner sleeve is destroyed, but that's what happens with these thin paper inner sleeves. They are what you would call a orthodox black metal band or a religious black metal band. They have that kind of Watain or Deathspell Omega slant to them. Offermod. I used to get Onscapt and Offermod mixed up a lot, and I really like Offermod. And at times, I would get the two. I would combine them and think they were one band. But I do like Onscapt, but I don't have anything by them. I'm looking forward to listening to this. So next, we have kind of a holy grail situation that fell in my lap from my buddy, and that is Dawn, Slaughter's Son, Crown of the Triarchy. So Dawn was a black metal band from the early 90s. They're very melodic. But their records had never been put on vinyl until a few years ago. They all got re-released, and I was able to pick up the other two, and I missed this one. CD copies of this that were pressed, 20, however long, whenever this came out. CD copies of this are just go for unreal money. It's stupid. But it's very kind of romanticized, melodic black metal. But recorded in 1997. It's 20 years old. But this was the first time it was released on vinyl. It's hard to come by. And he said that he has it on CD, and he was willing to give up this record. So I was very stoked for this to fall in my lap. Nice inner sleeve there with the lyrics and the band logo. It's on black vinyl. But this is an all-time favorite right here. So very stoked to get Dawn. Okay. Let's see. We've got... I kind of jumped into this and didn't organize anything. I've got a few CDs. Let's see here. Alright. Okay. I think that's it. Number one. Also from Hell's Headbangers, I picked up Malevolent Creation, The Ten Commandments. They had this on vinyl and CD, and I couldn't decide what I wanted, but I said I'm going to grab it on CD. I tend to have more death metal CDs than I do records. I've never been a big Malevolent Creation fan, but I do like this early stuff, and I need to get more acquainted with it. I saw them around 1999 or 2000, and I thought they were great then. But this is a nice digipack reissue. Got a booklet, all new layout. The artwork is really crisp and sick looking, and just awesome throwback. Just Tampa death metal. One of the originators of that sound. Malevolent Creation's a little thrashier. They're not as heavy as like Suffocation or Cannibal Corpse or Morbid Angel, but they're just real in your face. Just fucking nasty death metal. Next, we also have, Vollrath. I got the CD as well. Same as the LP. Then, Spectral Voice, Necrotic Doom. This is their demo. I have the original demo on cassette, but I also snagged a copy of it on CD from Eli the other night. 3 songs. This was their second demo. They have a demo that predated this that I do not have a copy of. But this is just good to have for the collection. Next, I ordered a couple things from Hospital Productions a few weeks ago. Hospital Productions, of course, is a power electronics, ambient electronics label from New York City. And I got Alberic's Priest Cursor. I don't know much about Alberic. It is one person. I can't remember his name. Chris Lepke. And I feel like I know his name. I know him from somewhere. But I don't know where. But this is a live set. Albert plays very heavy, dense, layered electronics. Very gloomy and just dark and heavy. Albert did a split with Luceria last year and called Borgia, and that record is probably my favorite record that came out last year. So I snatched this up. It's just a one song live set. Just heavy, heavy, heavy doomy electronics. And then I also picked up this by the Grey Wolves. This is a record called Catholic Priests Fuck Children. And this is a reissue of some material from the late 90s. I mean, from the late 80s. And this was I'm not sure what year this was released. 88, 89, somewhere in there. The Grey Wolves are a power electronics group. Very controversial. Really sick layout and artwork here. I'm a sucker for any kind of high contrast Xerox cut and paste stuff. But this is along the lines of Genocide Oregon, White House, Nurse with Wound, just old Kurt 93, just really heavy, just grinding power electronics. But I love this shit, and I love this release, and it came out really, really fucking nice. All right, next we have a cassette. This is Vollrath. This was also given to me by Billy and Vanessa. This is called Undead Warlock. This is a promo tape, just a simple J-card that they released themselves. This is some early Vollrath material, 5 songs, and they put this out themselves just to get the name out there, and I think this is what got them signed to Hell's Headbangers. So then next, I've got several movies. Being that I went to a movie convention, a horror movie convention, I picked up all kinds of shit. So, first, let me see here. These all kind of go together. I picked up 2 Ilse films. Ilse, the Tigress of Siberia, and Ilse, Harem, Keeper of the Oil Sheiks. There are 4 of these movies, and the first one was called Ilse, She-Wolf of the SS. And of course, Ilse is an SS Nazi official who runs a women's prison, and all kinds of sex and murder happens. But I haven't seen the other films in the series. These are both bootlegs. They were super cheap, but they appear to be very nicely done bootlegs. So I'm looking forward to checking those out. I am a sucker for Nazi exploitation movies. I mean, anything. Nazis and zombies and tits. So, I also picked up Severin. Severin Films was there. They had a big table. And Intervision is a arm of Severin. And I picked up 2 more Nazi exploitation movies. Gestapo's Last Orgy and Deported Women of the SS. And these are both kind of Nazi women in prison movies. Lots of sex, lots of violence. Can't wait to watch these. Then I picked up The Embalmer. This is a film from the 60s. It's black and white. And it's about a man who kidnaps women and embalms them to keep them forever. And being that I am a licensed embalmer, and that's what I do for a living, part of what I do for a living, I had to snatch it up. So I'm really looking forward to watching that. Along with that, I picked up The Undertaker. For those of you into horror, I'm sure you're familiar with the movie Maniac. It came out in 1980, starring Joe Spinell, about the eponymous maniac who stalks women in New York City and scalps them and puts their scalps on mannequins, and he lives with them. But Joe Spinell died in 1989, and in 1988 he made this movie, The Undertaker, and it was never released. And a couple of years ago, a print of it was found. They were able to restore it and put it out on Blu-ray, And I watched this the other night for the first time, and it was so incredibly fucking awesome. He plays a little small town Undertaker who murders women and keeps them as his friends. And he's a little bit fucking crazy. And his whole world starts to unravel when someone comes on to what he's doing, and he's trying to keep it a secret. But it's a low budget horror movie. It is extremely well made. It's got extremely good effects in it. Of course, everything's practical. And Joe Spinell, for those of you that don't know, he is just a top-notch. He was a real actor. He wasn't just some schlub acting in horror movies in the 80s. He was a real fucking actor. He was in 2 of the Godfather movies. Very, very tenured thespian. But unfortunately, he died tragically in 1989. And but his legacy lives on, especially with Maniac. But I cannot tell you how much I fucking enjoyed this movie, The Undertaker. And if you like low-budget 1980s slasher movies, get you a copy of this. Came out on Vinegar Syndrome. Another bootleg, I have 3 on a Meat Hook. 3 on a Meat Hook is a really low-budget movie from the 70s, 1972. It's really old. It's about a guy who lives on a farm with his dad, and he has a habit of killing women. I first heard about 3 on a Meat Hook when I was a teenager, and Mortician sampled it and wrote a song about it on Chainsaw Dismemberment. Along the way, in my horror movie collecting, I bought a copy of this on VHS. I still own it. It looks terrible, but this was a $5 bootleg DVD. It has never been officially released on a disc format. So I snatched it up. Hopefully it looks decent. Can't wait to watch it again. I also picked up Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals. This is on Blu-ray. This is otherwise known as Trap Them and Kill Them. It's a 2-disc set. Also has the soundtrack to it. There's a song on this movie called Love on a Wing. And there's a sequence in the movie where Emmanuel is fucking someone on the wing of a plane. And the song is called Love on a Wing. Either I made that up or that happens. But I haven't watched this movie in about 15 years. I have it on VHS tape. But this just came out. Severin also put it out. And I snatched it up. Can't wait to watch it. I'm a sucker for any kind of exploitive cannibal movie. Cannibal Holocaust, Cannibal Ferox, Slave of the Cannibal God, Last Cannibal World, Eaten Alive, so on and so forth. But Emmanuel was a series of movies in the 70s and 80s. Where she would go around the world getting in all kinds of trouble and fucking lots of people. And this is the one where she falls in with a cannibal tribe. Can't wait. And then last on our movies here, we have Burial Ground. Burial Ground is a horror movie, an Italian horror movie from the 80s. Early 80s, I think? 1980. This one's classic. Absolutely classic. It is a very kind of off-kilter zombie movie, but full of just horrific imagery, just great, great, great horror imagery. I also have this on VHS tape, but my tape copy is virtually unwatchable, so I have not seen this in a very, very, very long time. This was directed by Andrea Bianchi. Can't wait to watch this, but it's just full of guts and zombies and gruesomeness, and just in a way that only Italian filmmakers could do back then. So can't wait for that. I got a bunch of stickers and patches and shit. Hell's Headbangers. And then I picked up the new copy of Liquid Cheese magazine. This is number 45. One of the writers for Evil Speak magazine, which I do all the layout and design for, a guy named Dave Konsenki. Dave does Liquid Cheese and has been doing so for the last 20 years. And it is his tome to all things schlocky and weird. Horror movies and exploitation movies and music. But this issue's brand new, so much so that he put a tribute to Killjoy in here. But there's movie reviews and articles and lots of tits and blood. So if you like that kind of stuff, go check out Liquid Cheese. I think that on his website you can still purchase all the way back to #1. So if you want to start at the beginning looking at Dave's magazine, please do so, and please support Dave because he's great. And I love this fucking magazine. Last, I have a book. I have a very good friend named Leon Marcello. Leon is a writer and horror movie fan and music fan. But Leon, several years ago, wrote this book, Creepy Crawls. Leon traveled all over the world visiting horror movie and other macabre locations and writing about them. And it's a horror fiend's travel guide. Forward here by Herschel Gordon Lewis, of course, who's a legendary horror movie director. But this is just a book just chock full of writing only the way that Leon can write. I love reading his writing. He writes for the magazine for Evil Speak as well. And I got to hang out with Leon this past weekend. We've been friends for a very long time. And he didn't have this with him, but I actually picked this up at another vendor's booth. And I am so stoked to finally have a copy. I cannot wait to dig into it. So, there we go. I'm sure this video has ran pretty long. It feels like it. My tape stopped 15 minutes ago. But I've got a bunch of shit to dig through here to start listening to and watching and reading. And one last item I almost forgot about. Saturday night I went and saw the band Integrity. I have not gotten into this on my channel at all yet, but Integrity is my favorite band of all time. Of course, they're a hardcore band. They started as a hardcore band. They have evolved into much more than that. They've been around for 30 years. But they're the progenitors of metallic hardcore. I think that ground zero for that sound, in a good way, is Integrity. Originally, they were from Cleveland, and they played in Cleveland, so it was kind of a hometown show. I've been a fan of them for the past 20 years, so it was absolutely great to get to see them. I've seen them many times. But they played the Decibel Magazine Beer and Metal Fest a couple of weeks ago, and a brewing company put out a special Integrity beer for that, and I got a can of it. Oliver Brewing Company. This is a Belgian-style ale, and I am a beer drinker, but I haven't decided if I'm going to drink this or not. I may just put it on the shelf and keep it. But this was given to me by the singer of Integrity. They had a case of it with them, and he let me snag one. So thank you to Dwid for that. And this art here is the cover to their new album, which we will talk about when we get into the eyes on my CD collection videos. But it's just a cool little keepsake memento, Integrity beer. So there's a few bands that I want to collect all kinds of odd shit from, and Integrity's one of them because they're my favorite band of all time. And we will talk much, much more about that. But anyway, Integrity, junk, music, horror, coffee. We'll talk more soon. I've got more videos coming up. I've got more 5-minute favorites. And we've still got a bunch of fucking CDs to get through on this CD collection journey. So keep commenting, keep liking, keep subscribing, and telling your friends that you like watching the videos from this jackass who rambles too much. So I'll talk to everybody soon.